A new policy from Citizens Property Insurance has many homeowners concerned. The rule allows policyholders to cash their settlement checks without their public adjuster's sign-off. This makes it harder for adjusters to receive their 10% commission from settlements. Citizens claims the rule streamlines payouts, but critics argue that it discourages public adjusters from advocating for policyholders. It's a tough conversation, so many passions on either side. Victor, you are in the insurance industry. How do you see this?
My family was in the insurance industry for many decades, and I worked for the Insurance Commissioner's Office in Tallahassee, and I can tell you over the last half a dozen regular sessions and special sessions, the insurance companies have pretty much gotten everything they've wanted. And the biggest thing they've gotten is if you have a claim, right now technically, the insurance companies across Florida are only paying 50% of the claims. That means out of every 2 people, they're only paying 1 of you guys, and the other guys, you get 0. And last time I was on the show, my Republican counterpart was complaining because she had a claim for her place, and the adjuster came in from the insurance company, found 2 drops of water on a crack in the window, and said, "We're not paying anything." And that was a $100,000 claim.
There are plenty of nightmare stories.
Exactly,
out there.
and so now, if you, and the big thing is, if you want to sue your company, you have to pay 100% of your lawyer. So the thing called the public adjuster is what people are going to, many thousands of Floridians are going to, because they can go in and arbitrate and say, no, this person has a legitimate claim, you have to pay him, and this is what you have to pay him. So that's the last thing insurance companies want to have somebody to go against them on a claim that they don't want to pay, because they're in the business of making money. And the only way they make money is to have money coming in and less going out.
Well,
it's
and
very
public
simple.
adjusters will say that they are in the business of advocating on behalf of residents. Jonathan, in your experience, explain the role of public adjusters.
So I'm not a public adjuster, but I use many of them in some of our commercial and homeowners association projects. Insurance is complicated. I will never claim to understand everything about insurance, and public adjusters are that expert advocate for you. I think they know the industry. They know construction. You know, we are dealing with a quickly evolving construction industry after the hurricanes. There are lessons learned. The building code changes every 3 years.
Well, let's talk about that, the resilience of building codes. You talked about that. That happens every few years. The next one is in 2026. 2027.
Yep.
And so what is the role that public adjusters have in that data and that fact finding?
I consider public adjuster as a building industry expert. I think they have a lot to say. They were on the front line after the hurricanes, well, along with the insurance adjusters, seeing the damage. The question is, how do we prevent that with the next building code? How do we take those lessons learned and incorporate it to make a stronger building, hopefully bringing insurance rates down?
And this is a topic that our viewers have asked us so many questions about. And so, Jackie, my next question goes to you. You know, there are insurance companies that come in and they are not licensed in the state of Florida, but yet they operate like Lloyd's of London, for example. Right. And so what I'm hearing from many of our viewers is that when they're looking at their new policies, there's a new paragraph in there that's basically a conditional property endorsement that basically reads that a condition of the premium paid, it is understood and agreed that a condition is that the insured shall not retain or use the services of a Florida licensed public adjuster to inspect, evaluate, or adjust any loss covered by the policy.
Well, guess what? You don't have to go with that insurance company. In the last 4 or 5 years since the pandemic, a number of new insurers are writing business. There's a lot of competition, which was not the case 8 years ago when so many were going under because they were becoming insolvent. So I say I wouldn't go with that. And there's so many other insurance companies, and they're competitively priced. I price my homeowner's insurance every single year, and I'm looking at 3 or 4 or 5 different quotes that are all within a few $100s of each other. This is not that much different than when a few years ago we saw one large insurer in Florida actually telling people who they had to go to. If you guys can imagine that, your house has just been run into by a car, it's been hit by a hurricane, the tree has fallen into your kitchen, and they're telling you who to pick when you know that you have a contractor that's rock solid that's fixing the space where you live and breathe and sleep. Another thing I'll say is that there's a House bill proposal right now that's saying that public adjusters cannot act in an adversarial fashion, and that seems to be vague language. To me, is adversarial mean you're advocating too hard on behalf of the homeowner? So again, shop your policy around. Do not get tied into language like that.
Well, the last word, when talking about Citizens Insurance, I have to chuckle because they kicked us off. I mean, we have never made a claim, and we were kicked off of the policy because our property became too valuable. We were above the level in Pinellas County, and yet they're insuring more valuable homes down in Miami-Dade. And I said, oh, so we're being kicked off the policy. Okay, well, it is an insurer of last resort. I know they've had their issues, and I think another thing, and this is my opinion. There's been a lot of litigation, in the state of Florida, and there's been tort reform through Tallahassee. Maybe that's going to, bring some relief there too.
And that's something that the insurance companies have pointed to as a need for different changes that they've received.